Yo, what is up, guys? I have been getting a lot of questions over at my stream on what builds, what talents, what spec, all that good stuff that I played to get my #1 solo shuffle spot. Thought I'd throw together a guide for you, put all that information into one video. I'm going to timestamp it, feel free to skip around. There's going to be links down below to my Discord where you can find my macros, my builds, add-ons, weak ores, all that good stuff. Tune in my stream live every single day. And enjoy the guide. So if you're playing on Alliance, you're definitely going to want to look to be a Dwarf or a Dark Iron Dwarf. Dark Iron Dwarf provides removal of all bleeds and magic effects, as well as giving you main stat for each debuff cleansed off you. So this can give you a lot of main stat, and you can do a lot of big counter go damage after you cleanse your debuffs. Normal Dwarf just provides 10% damage reduction afterwards, which is also good for arms. To help you stay alive. Maybe you're not doing counter goes after you use Dark Iron necessarily. That's good. If you're playing Alliance, definitely want to be Dwarf or Dark Iron Dwarf. For Horde, you could play Orc. You still get 20% CC reduction and stuns, but it does not stack with the trinkets. You're not getting 30% or anything like that. It doesn't stack with the boots either. So 20% in stuns, and then the 10% from your trinkets and 5% from your boots on other CCs. Undead is okay. It looks cool. Will of the Forsaken's alright. I know we already have Zerker Rage, but sometimes there's two fears. Troll is good. Voodoo Shuffle stacks with Battle Stance, so this is an option. Voodoo Shuffle reduces snare duration, so that can be pretty helpful on an Arms Warrior. Goblin is also okay. Goblin Jump for extra mobility. For Horde, it doesn't really matter what race you play. Alliance definitely just has the best racials right now in the current meta because of Assassination Rogues, Feral Druids. So let's talk a little bit about the stats we want to play. In Shadowlands, I liked playing 20% haste on arms, and then going the rest crit. But because of our current 2 and 4 set, scaling so well with crit, I think crit is a better long con and a better investment overall. Once my character logs in here, I'll be able to show you guys the 4 set. We pulled tier this week. So Mortal Strike and Cleave damage and chance to critically strike increased by 10%. Mortal Strike, Cleave, and Execute critical strikes increase your damage and critical strike chance by 5% for 6 seconds. So every time we crit, we're doing 5% increased damage and crit damage. That is pretty good. So it does feel a little clunky to not have a bunch of haste. Our globals are pretty slow, but once we get about 20% haste, or 20% crit, I'd say we could put the rest into haste. Obviously, versatility is our most important stat. I'll hit a target dummy right here so you guys can see what my stats look like in PvP. I have 23% crit and 33% verse, 10% haste. Like I said, I do like haste more for faster globals. It makes it easier to outplay people and things like that, but I think crit is a better damage investment right now for the long con. I think arms just needs to have good pressure right now. And if you're ever put on the back foot, it is generally a losing game a lot of the time. Here, so this is the build I've been playing the most. This is kind of what I've been liking the best while I'm playing Turbo Cleave. Executioner's Precision, you could drop potentially for Fatality or Unhinged and play Blade Master's Torment into certain things. I would not recommend playing Unhinged into classes like Unholy DK, BM Hunter, Windwalker Monks playing Images, things with a lot of pets, because they will eat your Mortal Strike ticks, and that feels pretty bad. But this build has definitely been feeling good. It does miss Rend, and it misses a Rage Dump a little bit. I feel a little bit like I have too much Rage, but I think that'll be resolved with the buffs coming to Slam in the next patch. So let's talk a little bit about our PvP talents here. We didn't really get any good talents for Dragonflight. We're still using the same PvP talents. I think Warrior has a lot of good PvP talents. This is my default setup: Disarm, Sharpen, Warbanner. This is what I play most of the time if there's no class to disarm. There's usually a Warlock on the team or a big shield, so I find I drop this for Demolition a lot. In conjunction with Wrecking Throw, this completely destroys a Warlock's Dark Pack. It does a lot of damage in a Monk Cocoon. If the team does not have any shields, I will drop Wrecking Throw and put it into Fast Footwork really quick. But that is about it. If they don't have any shields and they don't have something I need to disarm, then I'll play Warbringer generally. Because it does a lot of damage right now with double time being baseline. Death Sentence is not super amazing, but it's okay. I think you just get more damage and more utility with the root Warbringer. Rebound. I don't think this is going to see much play at all. I'll try to get you guys a highlight clip of me reflect one-shotting a mage. But I don't know if this is that good of a talent. Duel is really good in Shadowlands for shutting down like Ret Wings and Rogue Goes and stuff like that. In Dragonflight, I don't love it as much, and I haven't used it much because I feel like we're very squishy now with the lack of Ignore Pain and improved D-stance. We're very susceptible to swaps, and I kind of don't want anyone looking at me as much as possible. Storm of Destruction is an option if you're playing the Unhinged build to reduce your Blade Storm to 1 minute. I don't really play this because I don't like the Unhinged build, but it's an option. Master and Commander, I don't really play. I don't think it's that valuable. I think the comps where this is really needed would be like Rogue Mage, but you have better talents into Rogue Mage, such as Disarm, Sharpen, and Warbanner to stall Goes. So this is pretty much what I play with almost every game. Like I said, swap out Disarm or Warbringer if we need to. There's a bug right now where Charge, if you're playing a Warbringer, Charge will no longer root the target and only the Warbringer. I don't know if that's intended or a bug, but it can feel kind of clunky. Before your Charge would root and then the Warbringer would root after. So if people like jump your Warbringer, it does feel pretty awkward, but these are the talents I'm playing right now, and this is what it's been feeling good to me to climb in Solo Shuffle and 3v3. All right, let's talk a little bit about our rotation and our spell priority as arms. It's pretty easy. I'll give you the basic rundown. So generally Charge first. Now classes with high mobility, it's actually not good to charge. You'll see a lot of high rated warriors actually go in on their mount and Piercing Howl first global. I would definitely recommend that. But on a PvP dummy, we're gonna charge him first global. But in PvP, I think it's actually the best to not charge. So you're up on mobility, right? Because if you walk up to the monk, Piercing Howl him, and then he tries to kite you, you have a charge. And then he tries to teleport, you have another charge. And then he Flying Servant kicks away and you have a Heroic Leap. So it just puts you ahead in the mobility trade, not charging first global. I think this is a mistake that a lot of lower rated warriors make. And it's something that'll definitely, you'll notice, keep your pressure up a lot better. So let's say we're fighting a monk. We walk in, we would Hamstring, we would Mortal Strike, Overpower. We got an Execute proc, so we'll use that. Mortal Strike is back up. Overpower proc, Mortal Strike proc. Now we have nothing. We have no Mortal Strike, no Overpower, no Execute, so we would Slam here. Or alternatively, Refresh Hamstring. Refreshing Hamstring is almost more worth, as Slam does almost no damage, as you can see here, hitting for 5k. If you're playing Rend, I would always reapply Rend or try to tab Rend somebody else rather than pressing Slam. Slam is just not that valuable. For a burst rotation, this is what it would look like. We're going to charge because say we want a Warbringer. If we want a Warbringer before, let's say we Avatar, we charge, Hamstring, Colossus Smash, Spear, Mortal Strike, Overpower, Mortal Strike, Slam, and this is pretty much it. We got an Execute proc, we will use that. But now we're just doing our basic priority, which is Mortal Strike, Execute procs, Overpower, and then Slam, while keeping up Hamstring. If you're playing Unhinged, the burst rotation would look pretty much the same. You would Avatar, charge, Colossus Smash, Mortal Strike. We got a Mortal Strike proc. I try to spend my Mortal Strikes before I would use my Unhinged. Simply because you want to have another Mortal Strike when you come out. People always ask if they should spend their time stacking Overpowers before the Unhinged. If you're going for like an Omega one-shot, sure, but I think in most use cases, you're trying to get your burst out before you get disarmed and things like that. You could double stack an Overpower before you Warbreaker. Try to catch them off guard with a big Mortal Strike, but generally I don't worry about that too much. That's pretty much your priority rotation. Quickly to go over macros, I really don't have many. I don't use much at all. Any macros I do have will be posted over in my Discord, link down below, like I said before. The two most useful macros I've found are this macro right here. This just makes it so if you swap Wrecking Throw and Shattering Throw, they'll just be the same talent. And then this one is Spear and Thunderous Roar. I swap between those a lot. These are really helpful. Everything else I've covered in my Fury guide, and it's also in my Discord, but we'll go over them really quick. So I macro Charge and Hamstring together because Hamstring has a minimum range and Charge has a maximum range. So if I'm in melee range, my Charge just hamstrings the guy, and if they get away from me, it charges them. I don't necessarily think this is the best way to do it, but I've been doing it for so long that this is just what I've stuck with. And also putting Cancel or a Blade Storm in your charge is pretty important. Here we go, we have Focus Fear, exclamation mark Heroic Leap. This makes it so if my Heroic Leap is out of range or there's no path available or something like this, I don't have to repress my Heroic Leap bind. I can just keep clicking until the Heroic Leap becomes available. And you'll see I put exclamation mark in a couple of my macros. That can be pretty useful. Another macro, Focus Pummel, pretty standard. Cancel Aura Blade Storm, of course. You'll need to cancel your Blade Storm to get the kicks. Cancel Aura Blade Storm a regular pummel. I don't use @cursor spear. I can actually delete this. I don't really like it. Some people might like this. I prefer to aim and try to get like really precise double spears, but this can be an okay macro if you're going for really quick spears and if you just like that playstyle. Again, I would put exclamation mark actually on it so it doesn't cancel. This is just a basic macro to display spear instead of rend, because rend is always up. It's just a rage requirement, so you don't really need to see rend. This is just a badge avatar macro, not really useful. I would really recommend, I don't even use this. I would recommend separating your badges and your avatars, because there's going to be times where you avatar out of a route, and you don't want to press your badge or anything like that. You just want to get out of the route, and I do that quite frequently. This is just intervene. When I'm playing threes, I just put the character's name in my macro. If I'm playing solo shuffle or with viewers, I'll put party 1. And then if I'm playing solo shuffle 3v3, I will do a mouse over macro. You could do party 1, party 2, and then a party sorter add-on would definitely be the fastest way to intervene people, but in solo shuffle, I'm just going with this. I am losing milliseconds definitely on my intervenes, but I don't think it matters that much in solo shuffle. In ranked 3v3, I definitely take it more seriously and definitely use aimed macros. This is just a slam macro that shows my spear cooldown, because again, slam is just a rage requirement, so I know it's always up. Focus Stormbolt, Focus Disarm, Focus Charge with Focus Hamstring, and Cancel Aura Blade Storm. Focus Hamstring, I don't even use this. And then I don't use this macro really either. Other than that, that is pretty much all the macros I'm using. This is a useful little macro for mounting your regular mount and your Dragonflight mount. I do macro like Orc Racial and stuff into my Colossus Smash and Badge. I think that's a good place to macro those things. But splitting them up is always the best option. My stance macros, these are what I get asked about a lot. If I use the 1 button stance macro or 2 button, you can use the 1 button macro. I prefer not to. You guys need to free up a keybind. Definitely use the 1 button macro. But I put exclamation mark here. So as you can see, I'm in battle stance right now. Normally, if I press D stance, I'll show you what happens. Find D stance here. I click D stance and I double tap it. It takes me out of D stance, right? So in a high pressure situation, if I want to go D stance and I double tap, it puts me in and takes me out instantly. And this can lead to death. So by putting exclamation mark, let me drag this off my bars. Click off D stance. By putting exclamation mark in front of the stance, if I double tap the button, it will no longer eject me from the stance. I do the same for my battle stance and berserker stance when I play Fury. You can have exclamation mark in the 1 button macro. The reason I don't like the 1 button macro is because if I'm in a really flustered situation, or maybe I'm panicking or I'm not thinking super clearly, and I double tap the button thinking maybe I'm in D stance, but I think I'm not in D stance, and I just press it because I'm gonna die anyways, this could eject me and put me into battle stance. So that's why I separate the buttons. You can do whatever you're comfortable with though. Both will work. That's about it for the macros. The best ones right now that I've played are Turbo Cleave. I think Shadow Priest Warrior is in an okay spot. You could even play Arms Warrior Assassination Rogue. It sounds crazy, but Assassination Rogue is so good that this was like a comp in the end of Shadowlands where you'd play Fury Outlaw. I think the same thing kind of applies. You could play Fury Asa or Arms Asa. But I think Ret Warrior Turbo Cleave, Shadow Priest Warrior. You don't have too many options right now. Maybe Demon Hunter Warrior could be good as well. And then, of course, Kitty Cleave is doing really well also. Those are pretty much your options as a warrior. Problem with those comps right now is they do not so great into Shadow Play, which is one of the most played comps you'll see, as well as Assassination Rogues. So we're kind of shafted in that regard. That's why Arms isn't B or A tier right now. It's pretty C tier. Coming up as one of the worst melee in the game, but you can still make it work. Alright boys, so hopefully this covered a lot more of your basic questions about getting started with Arms. I'm going to upload a full video of my solo shuffle lobbies. It'll cover things like what I'm thinking about going into the game, identifying the win conditions and stuff like that. So stay tuned for that video. Anyways, thanks so much for watching, and I will catch you on the stream. Peace!